You come to out in the head. Wait, he's falling behind.
Khamzat Chimaev didn't just criticize Dricus Du Plessis, he went for the jugular. In a recent live interview, Chimaev branded the reigning champion a paper champ, implying that Du Plessis' title reign is more the result of promotion than proven merit. He openly questioned the legitimacy of DDP's victories, casting serious doubt on his ability to handle elite-level grapplers. But this wasn't typical trash talk. Chimaev's tone was razor-sharp and calculated. He claimed Du Plessis is all hype, lacking the deep-rooted fighting foundation needed to dominate at the highest level. To Chimaev, Du Plessis isn't a warrior molded by war. He's a product of perfect timing and UFC marketing. Fans were stunned as Chimaev delivered blow after verbal blow live on air. Du Plessis is built on hype, not hardship, he insisted. The MMA world immediately reacted, with forums and comment sections exploding over the brutal verbal takedown. Some backed Chimaev's claims, while others defended the champ. But one thing was clear, the shot had been fired. Elsewhere in the interview, Chimaev accused Du Plessis of sidestepping the toughest matchups and only thriving when the division thinned out. He painted himself as someone who's carved through killers at both welterweight and middleweight, a contrast to Du Plessis, who he portrayed as benefiting from soft matchmaking and convenient timing. Chimaev's underlying message: I fight the real threats, he avoids them. Behind the scenes, sources say Du Plessis is fully aware of the statements and is monitoring everything. Known for playing mental games himself, he now finds the tables turned, cast as the underdog in a war of narratives. This isn't just about the belt anymore. It's about reputation, legacy, and proving who truly belongs at the top. Major MMA media didn't miss the shift either. Headlines now echo the sentiment that this feud has become psychological warfare, with Chimaev leading the charge to dismantle the champion's identity before they ever step into the octagon.
Khamzat has, and the intensity of his attack is unlike anybody else. He's so talented. He's so good at grappling, and his stand-up is fucking dangerous too. And I think he's way better at 185, I really do. I think at 170 he was killing himself to make that weight. And now you see him at 185, I think he has more energy. He's more than big enough for those guys. He's huge. He's a big guy. He's good.
Chimaev's attack on Du Plessis' credibility zeroed in on two things: his patchy fight schedule and the caliber of opponents he's faced. While Du Plessis has defended his belt more than once, Chimaev was quick to highlight the cancellations, visa delays, and fights that never materialized. According to him, consistency isn't just about winning, it's about showing up, especially when it's not convenient. You only show up when it's easy, Chimaev snapped. I don't pull out, I break people. That quote ignited social media, especially on X, formerly Twitter, where it was clipped and shared across the platform, exploding into a viral meme within hours. The showdown was instantly labeled Paper Champ vs Smash Brother and began trending globally. As phrases like Paper Champion and Built on Hype echoed across posts and threads, the MMA community lit up with discussion. Some argued Chimaev had gone too far. Others felt he'd struck a nerve, right at the point where confidence turns into doubt. Dricus Du Plessis has chosen silence over spectacle. Rather than engaging in a public back-and-forth, he's remained locked in training, a strategic decision that analysts believe is designed to project focus, not fuel Chimaev's provocations. As UFC 319, now officially set for August 16th in Chicago, draws near, it's no longer just about striking versus wrestling. It's about proving who belongs. What started as a stylistic clash has evolved into a war over legitimacy. Every stay down, every social post, every interview clip now carries an undertone of psychological warfare. With Chimaev framing Du Plessis as a manufactured champion, the mind games have intensified. This tension dates back to an earlier tweet where Chimaev branded Du Plessis with an unfiltered insult, which quickly triggered a fiery response from the champ, demanding recognition for his wins and consistency. But Chimaev didn't stop there. In his latest interview, he threw another jab, saying, "If Whitaker could take him down, then salam alaikum," a mocking reference to what he sees as Du Plessis' lack of grappling durability. Still, the Du Plessis camp isn't backing down. His coaches have pushed back, asserting that he's leveling up on the mat and preparing specifically to face elite-level wrestlers. "We drill daily to dominate the ground," one of his coaches revealed. Dricus can wrestle. He's grinding through that narrative. Du Plessis himself made his stance crystal clear. I'm not afraid of Chimaev's wrestling. I'm not ducking anything. We'll fight wherever it goes. Those words now carry even more weight, not just as a response to doubt, but as a declaration aimed at breaking through the shadow Chimaev's comments have tried to cast.
To do so far.
Beat him.
How so?
I can beat Khamzat. I know for a fact Khamzat is shooting. That's a fact. I don't think, just like everybody else, he knows what he's going to feel when he is Khamzat going to be able to take me down? Absolutely. Absolutely, he'll be able to take me down. This is how a fight works. I would hope so. Isn't he like some Swedish champion or something? I would hope he could take me down. But then he has to deal with me on the ground. And
Behind the scenes, Du Plessis has taken his preparation to the next level. His training camp has brought in former Dagestani wrestlers to replicate Chimaev's relentless, pressure-heavy style. The mission? Erase any notion that Chimaev holds a stylistic advantage DDP can't overcome. According to his coaches, fans are in for a major reality check on fight night. The media narrative has been just as intense. Headlines across the MMA world have framed this bout as a collision between legitimacy and hype. Some analysts argue that Du Plessis is already carving out a spot among the division's greats. Others, however, can't ignore the destruction Chimaev unleashed on Robert Whittaker, a performance so violent it reportedly left broken teeth in its wake, further solidifying Chimaev's claim as the real threat. Even former champions have entered the conversation. Khabib Nurmagomedov weighed in, saying Du Plessis lacks the physical intensity and deep wrestling pedigree necessary to handle a force like Chimaev, adding more fuel to the legitimacy debate surrounding the South African title holder.
You guys don't sleep on Khamzat. When he was fighting Robert Whittaker, everyone said, oh yeah, Whittaker's gonna get him. Hey, don't sleep on him. Khamzat's extremely talented, extremely strong. He can shock.
UFC insiders have confirmed that Caio Borralho has been officially named as the backup fighter for UFC 319. A clear signal of how critical this main event is, both in planning and promotion. The organization is determined that this fight happens, no matter what. Its placement on the card screams legitimacy. Fan reactions, meanwhile, are deeply divided. Some view Du Plessis' silence as a calculated move, controlled, disciplined, and focused. Others interpret it as submission to Chimaev's narrative, an unspoken concession that the psychological battle is already lost. One Reddit user even parroted Chimaev's insult with biting sarcasm. He's just a weaker version of me. He knows it, that's why he's quiet. It's clear Chimaev's words have cut deep into the MMA community. Now, the pressure is mounting, but Du Plessis isn't expected to clap back online. He's expected to answer in the cage. Analysts suggest the blueprint for disrupting Chimaev is simple on paper but brutal in execution. Neutralize the takedowns, stay unpredictable on the feet, and overwhelm with volume. If Du Plessis can control the grappling exchanges and frustrate Chimaev with pace and rhythm, he doesn't just win. He dismantles the story Chimaev has sold to the world. It's worth remembering. Du Plessis has never lost a mental war. Against Whittaker, against Till, even on the regional scene, he was always the one applying psychological pressure. But this time, he's the one under fire. The question now is whether he can flip the script. Israel Adesanya, previewing the fight, put it bluntly. If Khamzat wins, it'll be quick. But he added something more cryptic. Du Plessis is chaos, and chaos is exactly what you need to beat order. That one line perfectly captures what's at stake. This isn't just a title fight. It's a clash of belief systems, of chaos versus control, and which one defines the top of the middleweight division.
The first round, the Dricus is just chaotic. Chaotic good, chaotic evil. That's literally what this fight might be. Chaotic good versus chaotic evil.
I wouldn't even... Because I've seen some of these weight cuts where guys
like Khamzat.
Oh, bro.
Like when Khamzat would make 170.
Or even Cyborg.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
You see her when she was in the tub crying and shaking. And Oliveira when they go and they huddle around him. It's where you cut weight though. I'll say this thing for me when I cut weight.
Meanwhile, major outlets like TalkSport have spotlighted Chimaev's brutal finish of Robert Whittaker, a fight that reportedly caused jaw damage, as a benchmark for dominance in the division. That performance, widely regarded as one of the most violent statements of the year, has only strengthened Chimaev's credibility when speaking about who really deserves the crown. Recent coverage from Essentially Sports even dubbed him the future champion, while fans flooded comment sections with bold predictions like his ending DDP in 2 rounds, showcasing a growing belief that Chimaev's superiority isn't just hype. It's reality. That kind of external backing continues to chip away at the perception of Du Plessis as the rightful king. However, not everyone sees it as so one-sided. Analysts like Rainier de Ridder have pushed back, arguing that Du Plessis poses a far more complicated threat than he's being given credit for. His unorthodox movement, unpredictable rhythm, and unconventional striking create a difficult puzzle, one that may disrupt Chimaev's narrative of dominance and control. This entire storyline has shifted far beyond physical attributes. It began when Chimaev questioned Du Plessis' legitimacy. Now, the pressure is squarely on DDP to respond, not through interviews, but through execution in the Octagon. UFC 319 is no longer just a middleweight title fight. It's a war for narrative control. Interestingly, the UFC's own promotional material seems to feed into that theme. Their highlight reels for Chimaev lean heavily on his violent finishes, mauling Gerald Meerschaert, ragdolling Kevin Holland, and dismantling Whittaker. In contrast, Du Plessis is portrayed as gritty and durable. His toughness and stamina are emphasized more than any single moment of domination. Whether intentional or not, the visual difference is striking, and echoes Chimaev's narrative of being the real killer in the division. Even Ariel Helwani has weighed in, recently speculating that the UFC may be grooming Chimaev not just as a title challenger, but as a future pay-per-view headliner. The machine is clearly behind Khamzat, Helwani said. And with that kind of promotional power comes added pressure on Du Plessis, to either silence the noise or be drowned out by it.
And I know, style, way different than Sean, way different than Izzy, way different than the first Sean, way different than Whittaker, way different than Darren Till. I get that. But this guy figures out a way. He just figures out a way. It's unbelievable. So I'm not going to doubt him.
What do you think, guys? How I done with this guy, Rob? How he done? Rob took him down. So if Rob took him down, so...
Even the Chicago crowd may play a role in how this one unfolds. With Chimaev's fanbase expanding rapidly across Europe and the Middle East, thousands are expected to fly in just to support him. Some insiders believe the arena could feel more like a home crowd for Chimaev than for the reigning South African champ. That energy, that noise, might subtly shift the mental pressure before a single punch is thrown. In the wider middleweight division, loyalties are quietly forming. A few fighters have voiced support for Du Plessis, pointing to his resilience and grit. Others lean toward Chimaev, drawn in by his overwhelming dominance. Even Sean Strickland, never one to hold back, has taken shots at both, but his mockery suggests one thing. The Chimaev storyline is louder, more imposing, and nearly impossible to ignore. The pressure point is crystal clear. If Chimaev's verbal jabs have gotten under Du Plessis' skin, then the only way to flip the script is through action. Experts agree, Du Plessis can't win the war of words, but he can win the war in the cage. Outwork Chimaev, outlast him, control the grappling, push the pace, and break him down with sustained volume. By the time the Octagon door shuts, the real question isn't just who's the better fighter. It's who has more belief behind them. Chimaev enters UFC 319 as the betting favorite, sitting at nearly -200. The sports books are leaning his way, and the hype around him is undeniable. But fights aren't won by odds, they are won inside the cage. Even celebrities and analysts are split down the middle, with no clear consensus. But Du Plessis has made it clear, he doesn't care about narratives. He sees himself as the real favorite, and is not shy about it. So, who is the true favorite heading into UFC 319? We'll break down our predictions in upcoming videos. Don't miss it.